Hello everybody, I'm Matthew Simpson from the Ancient Architects channel. I'm going to show you some photographs I just taken of a mysterious lost city in the Sahara Desert. As you can see, according to this National Geographic article, there were hundreds of ancient cities in the Sahara Desert which are long lost today. According to this article from 2011, as you can see, Africa had an ancient history which is long forgotten. Here you can see in the sunset, the slave trade nation sucked up into the Sahara Desert thousands of years ago. Please subscribe to my newly re-released channel, Space and Planet. Okay, well, maybe I'm not this guy. He's got a great channel. He's a little too mainstream for me, but he shows some of the best stuff. He just had a recent video that was showcasing Jado, the lost city. I grabbed some screenshots. I'm just going to go through them really quick. I definitely like the rock art, especially of the animals which no longer exist in that area. For example, this rhino. I think this is probably my favorite. It's kind of hallucinogenic. And it's definitely 2,000 years old. It's definitely probably more like 3,000, 5,000 years old. How old is the desert? How long has Sahara Desert been the desert? That's not the reason for my video though. I just thought these were some pretty awesome shots. I wish I could remove, this is where it's located in Niger. I like that. He looks like a mosquito. Giraffes and ostrich, or should I say running bird. Was it recently a slave, sorry, not recently, was it a slave trade nation? Because apparently that could have been a prison for slaves. Anyways, it's a check out the video on your own. Go to his channel, Ancient Architects. He's got almost 275,000 subscribers, and I'm definitely subscribed because I've seen this, I've presented this on my videos before, but I do like to give a shout out when he's showing ancient bodies of water. Now I want to talk about this right now. This is what we're going to next. I mean, if you could see clearly, you would see that the Maghreb Sea is just quite over. This is the Eye of the Sahara. And perhaps many years ago, a piece of a comet crashed upon the land and created a great flood. Okay, can you imagine all that water coming through there? I can, and I think that I have some new evidence to prove it. Yeah, thanks for staying through and not thinking I'm just BSing you. I'm going to give you some great stuff. There's his channel. I like his stuff. Okay, what are we looking at here? Is that a man-made canal right at the corner of the eye? Well, I can show you some evidence that it is. Well, when I say man-made, look at this corner. Look at this curve. Why is this curve the perfect circular arc? Is it because someone piled up some sand here to create a lake? A lake which could have fed a canal system of Atlantis. And I'll prove it to you through this topographical map what I'm talking about. I just showed that to you. I'm going to go back in there and show it again. But as you can see, there's the arc. I call it Michelle's arc. She's the one that pointed it out to me, so she gets credit. But if you notice, is that a river that goes up into the hills? Maybe this is just a river coming down from the mountains, because that's 1,647 feet above sea level. But the blue is almost 1,000-foot difference. Now that blue and this blue don't match. What does that mean? That means it's actually what they call water level. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But if you notice, this was a lake, and I can show you how I know that. Let's go back in there and take a look. First of all, you can see several levels of water lines here, shorelines. The one that's most prominent is this one here. That is a old shoreline. And this is another one right there. That's a shoreline from the past. So it proves that this was full of water. Okay, it still can gain water. And there were ancient dams going across right there that we've discovered a long time ago. But I didn't really have the Google Earth working right, and I didn't have the topographical maps to talk about it. But that dam, that is pretty old, and you've got some breaches. But that one that I showed you over there, that was a bizarre one. But I do believe that, as you can see, this is a spillway. It's kind of like a little bit of a, I mean, I want to say it's almost like a delta of a river. But when you go along there, you can see that there was some type of almost a man-made structure right there. An ancient shoreline, perhaps. There it is right there. So you've had several floods through this area. You've had several levels of lake. But who's to say that when this was the lushest area in town, that it wasn't one of the biggest lakes in town? Let's go back to the topographical map and look at that for a second. what I claim now is that this was a lake that fed the canal system for any concentric circles that existed here. There's a river that would have gone right through here, and it's all covered up with sand. I'll show you again. Let's go back out and take a look. You can see the concentric circles out in the past, out in the back. Yeah, I'm not speaking very well today. I had a long day. But when you see the concentric circles there, you can also see that the mountain range here has that lip on it that shows the old shoreline. That too, those are shorelines. That was a lake. And that lake, if you go down in there and follow it down to the end, you'll see it goes into what looks like a man-made canal structure. I mean, who knows how old that is? That's got to be 20,000, 30,000 years old. If it was made naturally for some reason, how could that have been made naturally? That was cleared through. Look at that. A straight line. Now, right at the bottom, there's this zigzag canal or river that goes off to the right. I think it's a little too perfectly zigzagged, but who knows? I mean, maybe that was a straight line at one point. But what I'm really concerned about is because that would be a gathering, that would be coming from the mountains. That would be filling in here and going probably this way or to the lake. But if it was a canal system, well, then this would have been it. You've got a road that goes on there, so when you follow the roads, you follow the rivers. Roads are natural river followers, and you can kind of see residual lines coming through here. I'm going to back out just a little bit. You can see kind of a little valley right there. I mean, what you see from this line is that was where water was once. That was a double highwayed river right there. Now it does get covered by the sand eventually, but honestly with this Google Maps you can still see a line over here. What's that? That's the mountain. You can still see a river floor. You know, this looks like it's a sediment coming down from the mountains and kind of disrupting that. So you know, when 20,000 years passes, you have a few 100-year floods that can cover that up. You can see something coming here. Going down in, you've got a little, what looks like a little city or oasis. What is that? Just dirt? Rocks? Or clouds? I'm not sure. That looks like clouds. But when we back up, you can see that one alluvial fan coming into it, covering it up, taking stuff down. You see the sediment moving that way, so I would say the water was moving that way. We can double check the topography right here. Where were we? Oh, there it is, up there. Sorry, I got mixed up again. This thing's always messing up. Now I'm still confused. Is that it? That's not it. Where is it? It's over here. Now I can't rotate this one, so I've got to kind of follow it down this way. This topography is not that exact, but you can clearly see where a sea level floor bed is compared to the mountain. Let's back away a little bit and get in the middle. Once we get that map out of the way right there, it'll change it. You can see the striations that a flooding could have done. See, you don't see that in the video that I was just looking at. Not video, but Google Earth. Now we're following the mountains down towards the eye there, so there's no way I can rotate this. But what I do think is that you can see that water would have naturally flowed this way for a bit, right about here. Probably following these lines or before those lines were there, because I believe those lines were put there in the last 12,000 years. I think there were a series of floods. But you don't have sand filling this lake, do you? This ancient lake bed. Maybe this was also part of the Tamanrasset River. If it wasn't part of the Tamanrasset River, which I think it was part of it, I think the Tamanrasset flowed along this area here. You can see a natural guide of water right there, and then this way, So let's not forget that there was an ancient Lake Maghreb up here. If you look at that in comparison with everything else, you'll see that these mountains are higher, but this yellow is actually higher than the green ancient Lake Maghreb. But there was definitely a lake there, wasn't there? And it was pretty big. I mean, if you can compare that, if you look at that in Google Earth, if you want to measure that lake, here at its width, well, we got to go to 2D to do that. This is a triangle that's 10 meters across. And if we start new and go this way, you go way down here because it seems like it went along the mountain. It's like 20 kilometers right there. Did I say 10 meters? I meant to say 10 kilometers. Once again, 10 kilometers by at least 20, and then another 20 here. So like 40 kilometers across. And what you can see is that the sand probably is covering a shore that used to exist. This sand doesn't really show the shore on the other side of the lake. But what you do see is the striations of sand going over. You can see that the lake existed first. There's probably a dam going underneath the sand someplace. That line right there probably continued under the sand. We've been looking at that for a long time. Let's look at it one more time because I want to get it exact. So as you can see, you've got the arc here. It's coming right there like almost a 90-degree angle, connecting that like an H. And you've got this bubble here of land, and you've got 2 levels of shoreline on that. You only go down to 1 level over here. There it is. So here we are, and if we go over here and look at that arc, and now look at it, you can clearly see that the light blue is about 1,030 feet, and the darker blue is like in the 900s. So when you look at that, you can kind of see it disappears under the same height ground, and then higher ground, and then higher ground, and then higher ground. So you're not going to see lower ground like it stopped. What you have here is you've got the ancient lake, you've got the shoreline of the ancient lake right there. You can clearly see the ancient lake shoreline on the Richat side. This was definitely a shoreline. Why is that arc so perfect? Nobody knows. But how far across this did the lake go? Was it even a lake, this higher land? Let's just back out and take a look at the whole picture again. See, it's kind of hard to believe it, but 518 foot over here is actually a lot lower. So this is almost like a valley over here. Anyways, not sure what that all means, but I believe that with the shoreline proof that was a shoreline in 2 occasions with higher and lower levels, that you had definitely a body of water in this area like a lake. It's a lot lower right there than anywhere else. It's a lot lower. So right now we've got the green is 938, but the red is 1500, and the white is 2000. So that's definitely a lot higher, more than 1,000 feet higher. And then here on this side you've got red and yellow, which is 1100 and 1500 feet. But back down to the green, let's get in again, get some better colors going. There you go. The blue is less than 935 feet. That's not the same color. You don't find that color blue over there. There's no white blue. There's white mountain caps. Then you get to the green, that's 1,099 feet. Then the yellow, that's 1,296 feet. And then you go maybe back down to the green later. But what you don't see is the blue. So you're always 200 feet of sand. There's sand going across this whole area. 200 feet of sand. You got a little bit showing through over there. But this is all sand. That's sand that was brought through by flooding. Flooding from the ancient Maghreb. And we probably had a bunch of lakes down here that were supplying the Richat structure with water, if you believe in the theory that those concentric circles were navigated by man. Let's take one more look at that, and then I'll log off. So there we are with the canal that goes right there. Let's switch it back over to 3D and follow that canal down to the right along here. It disappears under the sand. can check the well, did I look at that? I think I did, right? Right over here. I looked at it once, but let's go up to where I'm at now. I'm talking about this area along here. So coming out here and going along this way. Now, whether or not that was forced, man-made mechanisms, or was it a natural, I don't think it was a natural flow. I think that naturally water would have flowed north right there to the lake. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that it's just high enough to balance it out and get it to come the other way. And if you don't believe it, look at Geelong River and how that was definitely created here in Taiwan. Look at the very top near the mountains, how it gets so close to the Pacific Ocean but never makes it. To me, that's just too much. And this is too much. So let's go back in. Let's follow that along. Again, that canal, let's zoom in and look at it one last time and how dramatic that looks when you get in there. And I think that there must have been something here, like there must have been another entry point right here, because it sure looks like there was an arc going somewhere, then getting covered by sand. But these lines look so straight to me. And this was part of it. This was part of it. When you get in there, you can see that was part of it. It was full of water all the way over to here. It was part of the lake all the way up. And it would go all the way down to here and probably river out somewhere. I think that there was an entry point here, as I mentioned, and I think there was an entry point back there at the corner, and it flowed through here. You can see water lines even when there was sand. Okay, you're at the city called Sibyl, S-B-I-L. I think there's some structures in there. You can zoom in and find something. Some people living there. Why? I don't know. Look at that. That looks like it's a man-made circle, right? Is that a cloud? Houses? Something. Looks like it's man-made to me. I don't see no white bushes anywhere else. What's that? More buildings? Those look like buildings. So the point is that there are people, maybe some water under there that they're getting somehow. I doubt it. And you got another thing happening here. Another ancient riverway leading here. You know that's coming from the mountains, right? So yeah, there was a river here. There was a river gathering here. The Tamanrasset was almost as big as the Nile. Don't forget that. And it went down through here, between this high point and this high point, and it came out over here by the circles, which are right in front of us. You can also see that there was probably a shoreline here. So when people say that there was not lakes and rings and water, they're crazy, because it's just proved right there. That's a shoreline. It could be a river line that was created by water. That clear thing, that was probably the outlet right there. It's probably where they came into this whole area. And if that wasn't it, there's probably a series of them. This is the Richat structure. There was another area full of water here. I mean, this was created by water. How else was that created by? That just fell off? It was lava? Doubt it. That was water that created that. This used to be full of water. So all these naysayers saying, oh yeah, it was nothing. Well, I can tell you right now that it was definitely not nothing, especially when this was a vast forest. I'm going to show you one more thing and then I'm logging off. Okay, so again, when you look at the differences here, when I showed you that shoreline, you can now see that the lowest point here, this was all water. Now, was there sand here? Maybe, maybe not. But that was water. I believe that that shoreline protected this sand from entering this area. This area is clear of debris. It's not full of sand. But the one thing that is full of sand, in my opinion, is this. I believe this is an ancient hit. I don't even think this took out the concentric circles 12,000 years ago. Because this line here is so covered and decayed, I think it's more than 12,000 years old. I think it compares to 60,000 years old. But isn't it weird that it bullseyed this whole thing? That's it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm going to try to upload this so See, I can't speak. I had a long day at my job. I'm going to upload this without editing it much. We'll see. Thanks. Bye.